Namaskaraha. Namaskara to all of you. Welcome to our sessions on Yoganishta Jeevanam. So our subject here is yoga, right? So I will be
Namaskaraha.
Namaskaraha. Namaskara. So I will be sharing with you some slides, and we'll just follow along with the slides. So what I would actually ask is that all of you listen carefully. So you have to, after I finish explaining, one of you, I will call one of you, you have to explain what I said. That is only to check if you have understood or not, right? It's not intention to put you on spot or anything, but just to understand that you're following along well. That is the only reason. So listen carefully, and then you'll have to repeat what I said. So I'll just call on one of you guys. Okay, so are you all able to see my slides?
Yes, Bhagini.
Okay.
Yes.
So let us now start the class. Okay. Now the slides progressing. Okay. So yoga, the subject yoga is very, very popular in today's world. Anywhere in the world you go, yoga is very popular. We have so many different yoga studios all over the world, where people do so many different types of yoga, hatha yoga, or not able to hear. Are you able to hear?
Yes.
Absolutely fine. Samichinam. Bottom Samichinam.
अस्तु तर्हि शारदा भगिनी, I think if you're not able to listen, are you having a headset or something? Okay, so you need to have a headset. I'm seeing that you're not you have to log in with a dial in audio. So I'm not able to see your headset. That is why you're not able to hear.
Vedasri is same as Triveda. Three Vedas.
What?
He is asking you about your name.
Okay. Yeah. So we'll talk about my name a little bit towards the end. So now let us actually focus on the subject that we have. So the subject over here is Mohdaya. I'll talk about the name Vedatri a little bit later on towards the end of the class. If you don't mind, I want to start the class now. So the yoga is a very, very popular subject in today's world, and we have like so many yoga studios all over the world, and you have different kinds of yoga like hatha yoga, kundalini yoga, bikram yoga, hot yoga, and different kinds of yoga. But the question is, do people really understand what yoga is? So is yoga only a physical exercise, or what is the true meaning of yoga? Is it just asana? Because in today's world it is being used as a physical exercise. Everywhere you go, that is how it is being viewed or perceived as a way for getting fitness, or as a way for exercising. But do we really understand what is the true meaning of yoga? So that is what we will be talking about in our session. So another thing that I want to let you guys know is that yoga is a very, very practical science. It's a practical science. So it is 99% practice, and there's only 1% theory, right? And also the theory is just to aid us in doing the practice. So if we want to get the maximum benefit out of these sessions, then it is you come to the sessions, you hear what is being said, and then you need to implement in your life. You need to experience it yourself. Like whatever I am saying, you don't need to take it. You just need to take what I'm saying and try to apply it in your life, and see how my life changes, or how my body is changing, or how my mind is changing, how am I progressing spiritually. So you need to experience it yourself. So unless you jump into it and start practicing, you're not going to get any benefit. So with that said, I would like to start the the subject at hand. So in terms of how our sessions are going to progress, so first we will have an introduction of how this yoga came about and how the science of yoga was developed, right? So that is the introduction to yoga. And then we will understand what is the meaning of yoga. What is yoga? Is it just asanas, or what is the true meaning of yoga? So, and then after that, we will understand what is the definition of yoga and what are the benefits of yoga. Why should I be interested in yoga? What are the benefits to me? Because without benefits, nobody in this world today no human being is going to proceed further. So what are the benefits? How do I benefit? So we'll see that. And then we also will see what is Yoganishta Jivanam. What is Yoganishta Jivanam? What are the different components of a Yoganishta Jivanam? How did a yogi live in the past, right? So what are those aspects that we can implement in our life in terms of food, asanas, meditation, sadhana, and all the different angas of yoga. And then towards the end, we will be studying the yoga philosophy. We have some karapatras, so we will be reading those karapatras. So that will happen after 5 or 6 weeks. 5 or 6 weeks that will happen. But initially, we will be only discussing practical aspects. We will get some introduction to yoga, and then the meaning of yoga and what are the benefits, the immediate benefits that we can get, and also on the what are the different components of Yoganishta Jivanam. How can we live as a yogi? We will see that for the first initial 5 to 6 weeks, and then we will start the yoga philosophy. We will understand what is the yoga philosophy all about, right? So that we will do later on. We have karapatras for that. We have some written papers, so we will study those later on. So now let us understand how this yoga came about, right? So let us do some introduction to this yoga. So over here, okay. So over here, when all of us have this experience of, going to the beach, going towards the ocean, sitting on the shore and looking at the ocean, looking at the vastness of the ocean, or we are coming back home from outside and you're looking at the night sky and you're looking at the beautiful stars and how big and how great and how vast the sky is, night sky is, so many beautiful stars. Or you might have been going to hiking or passing through a forest, and then you looked at the huge beautiful mountains, snow covered mountains, or the mountains with greenery, and you're just like amazed at its beauty. This is a common experience that most human beings have this experience. And when we look at that vastness and this hugeness and the beauty, we just feel that thrillness, or we're just amazed, like, oh my god, how big it is. And you kind of feel, you just connect with it right away, and you feel something inside, deep inside, looking at that vastness and that beauty, right? All human beings, from children to adults, all human beings have this experience, this kind of feeling. So the question is, what is it about these different scenery, or the oceans, or the mountains, or stars in the sky, that gives that thrill to people, that makes people enjoy? So in fact, a lot of people take long trips. They take long trips and they go to the oceans, they go to the mountains, and they look at the scenery, and then they enjoy it. And people don't feel like coming back. They feel like, oh my god, I like this and I want to be here. And that is why people do vacations and they go to all these places. So the question is, why do we do that? What is it that we get from these things, and why is it only with these big and huge things that we are getting attracted towards? So that question arises, what is it that makes human beings thrilled from these small things? You might say that some people don't enjoy this, don't enjoy nature. It isn't true, because everybody enjoys nature, even though they may not, if they are preoccupied, if their mind is preoccupied with something else, then that minute they might not enjoy the nature. But if the mind is open to that, what they are seeing, and they're present in that moment, then obviously they're going to enjoy and connect with that vastness and that beauty. So the question is, why are human beings thrilled at looking at big things? So the answer to that question is, what drives us to that experience? What inspires us to have that experience? So the answer to that question is that we have a thirst. We have a thirst in human beings for limitlessness. We want things which are, huge and big. So inside us, we have this thirst for limitlessness. We have this thirst for infiniteness. We have this thirst for something infinite. So the deep desire or yearning is there within each human being. There's a deep desire within each human being, and we may or may not be aware of it, but it is there. It is there in all human beings. At some point in time, you may experience it. Some point in time, you may not experience it, but it is there. The deep desire for the infinite entity is inside all of us. So whether it is a lake or a mountain or a sky, when we look at it, we get thrilled. So we may not be aware of it, but all of us have this experience. So if you see, looking at the big things gives us this thrill, gives us this momentary thrill, not the small things. If you're looking at an ant hill, you're not going to have this kind of experience. You just look at it and you just go ahead. If you're looking at a small thing, you're just like, okay, yeah, it's there, and you don't pay much attention. You just go away. But if something huge and big and beautiful and vast is there, then you're attracted towards that, and you just get happiness. You look at it and you get happiness. And that is why you make frequent trips, you take long trips, and you go and see all these different things, ocean or the sky or the mountains. So what is the key thing over here is that human beings have an infinite desire. We have an infinite desire. We have that within us. We have that anantata. We have that infiniteness within us. That is why we are attracted to these huge things, and these huge things momentarily gives that thrill. It is not giving you permanent thrill. As long as you're looking at those things with your eyes, then you enjoy that thrill. But then the moment you come back home, and then you're not going to enjoy it. So that is a very, very momentary thrillness that you get by looking at all these things. So how the science of yoga began was that about in the ancient times, the people observed this, and they realized that they're getting these experiences looking at these huge and vast things, and observing that those great experiences, they slowly developed a science in the ancient times about this very idea, how to cultivate this experience, how to get this infinite happiness, how to get this anantata within us, how to trigger that anantata within us without having to go outside, without having to go and look at the mountains or the ocean or the night sky. How do you get this experience right where you are, within your house or within wherever you're located? You can get this experience. They slowly developed a science around this, and the name of that science is called as yoga. The name of the science is called yoga. You don't have to go outside and look at these things, but you can just close your eyes and go deep within and get an experience of the infinite, which is even better, which is much better than just looking at a mountain or ocean. The mountain or ocean, when you look, you're getting temporary happiness, but when you do the meditation, when you close your eyes and go inside, you get an experience which is even better than looking at a mountain or a ocean. And that is how the science of yoga developed. So who is going to summarize that for me? Pushpa Bagni, summarize it.
There'll be a lot of noise here where I am.
Okay. It's okay. I'm not hearing any noise. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. All right. Yoga is just a union between you and the divine, as far as I'm concerned. Okay.
No. Yeah. We will come to that later on. What is yoga is, we'll come to that later on. Now you explain what I explained.
Okay, you don't have to go to mountains and the ocean, the beach and the large oceans to enjoy this feeling of yoga. the infinite yoga can be science or rather can be experienced by anybody by developing a science which is actually to get the experience of infinite without having to look at the sky or the ocean or the mountains or whatever. Just you can close. That's what I was doing actually when you were talking about it. I didn't even notice this slight change. Close your eyes and go deep within and get an experience which is even better than looking at any of those things. That's all, basically.
So why do we do that? Why do we do that? What is it that, what is the reason why we are doing this? Why are we going and looking at the big things? What is it? What is it, the reason why we're doing it? What drives us to do that?
I don't know. To me, I mean, I do go to the ocean. I do look at the sky, but that doesn't mean that I can't get into within me to get into yoga. So I don't know how to explain that.
No. So the answer to that question is we have an infinite desire within us. We have an infinite desire. We are seeking for infinite happiness. And that infinite happiness is triggered when we go and look at that mountain or the ocean, that when we look at the vastness and the hugeness, that infinite, ananteshana is triggered. The desire for the infinite is triggered when we look at all these things. So the key thing is that we have an infinite desire. That desire is triggered when we look at these things. Okay.
And another thing is it's only a fraction of a time that you can feel that. You do not. I mean, when you go within, it's different. You can do it anytime and have much more deeper.
Yes. Okay, nicely said. Thank you. So the reason why we all go and look at these things is because we have an infinite desire. We are all seeking for something infinite. Like finite things do not satisfy us. We are looking for something infinite, and that is why that infiniteness, that feeling of infinite, even all these things, the ocean, the mountains and the sky, everything, they are not infinite. They appear to be infinite. They appear to be huge. So when we look at those huge things and we feel they are like infinite, but they're not infinite, we know they're not infinite, but that feeling of infiniteness gets triggered within us because all of us are seeking, all human beings are seeking for something infinite. We have an infinite desire within us. Okay. So this yearning, this anantasya ichcha, that is, we get that only from that joy from only big things. The yearning for infinite appears to be fulfilled by looking at things big. That is why we are attracted to these things. We get happiness looking at them. So what yoga is trying to do is it's trying to cultivate that experience. People make paintings of the mountains, of the ocean, and they don't make paintings of the anthills. People are attracted towards these things which are big. Poets write poetry about these mountains and ocean and these big things, and people write songs about them. We're not going to see people making paintings about anthills. They're not going to make a big deal about anthills. People make a big deal about mountains. They do photography. They sit in the wild and they take photography of the mountains, right? So that people like things which are big because there is something which inspires us. There is something already within us. There is already something within us which inspires us to do this, right? Something within us gets triggered when we look at these things. So if you look at animals, they don't go stand in front of the mountains and look at the mountains. They don't consciously go like cows. They don't go and stand in front of the mountains and look at the mountains. So when compared to the animals, it is the human beings that want to get this kind of happiness. So yogis saw this. The yogis of the past saw this, and they generated a science around this, where you don't have to go outside. You can just close your eyes go within and get that experience, which is even much better than what momentarily you get, right? So uh, these all these physical things, we have to look at them with our eyes. But in yoga, you don't have to physically look at anything. You just have to sit in one location and just go deep within and get the same kind of feeling, which is more meaningful, deeply meaningful, right? So now the question is, we said all this, and now the question is, what is yoga? What is the meaning of yoga? What is yoga? So in order to understand what is yoga, we need to understand what it is to be a human being. What is the meaning of a human being, right? Do we know what is the meaning of a human being? Who am I? Who am I? Are we animals? Are humans animals? Are we in the animal kingdom? Or can we say that we are just more intelligent than animals? Can we say, are we intelligent animals? Can we say that? So in order to understand the science of yoga, we need to understand the difference between a human being and other living beings, animals and plants. So what is the difference between human beings and animals and plants? So only when we know that, then we can understand the meaning of yoga. The seed of being a human lies in the answer to the question that we just saw before. What inspires us to look at the oceans and mountains? That is the seed of being a human. That is the seed of being a human. All the answer to all these questions are very much related to yoga. So in order to understand the meaning of yoga, we need to understand what it is to be a human being. So we'll see that in the next slide. Okay, so the question is what it is to be a human being. Are we animals? Are we in the animal kingdom and simply the most intelligent amongst animals? So are we in the animal kingdom and just there is only buddhi beda, we are more intelligent among the different animals? Or is there something qualitatively different from animals? How do we distinguish? How do we do a lakshanam for human beings compared to animals and plants? So when we know the lakshanam of human beings, then we can explain what yoga is. So
Like
this is
like
actually
the characteristics.
yes, the unique characteristics of human being. What is the unique characteristic of being a human? So in fact, this is actually a great question, and people from all walks of life have thought about this and they have tried to give their own views, right? Like philosophers, scientists, and others from a very long time, they have thought about this and they have tried to explain this. And some of them actually say humans are intelligent animals. Some people say that humans are intelligent animals. So intelligent animals means, are we in the animal kingdom? But the thing is, the answer that human beings are intelligent animals is not a very satisfying answer, because if we are intelligent animals, then why are we not in the animal kingdom? Why are we placed in a separate kingdom for human kingdom, right? So the answer that is given so far has not been very satisfactory. So the yogis have actually given a very unique answer to this question. They have said that there is not only a quantitative difference in terms of the buddhi, that we are more intelligent than animals, but there is qualitatively there is a difference between animals and human beings. There is a qualitative difference between the two, and the qualitative difference is, if you the unique answer that they have given is that the very feeling that we get when we look at the mountain or the sky or the ocean and experience that chillness, that is the seed of being a human being. That kind of experience animals and plants do not get. So we might ask the question, even animals also enjoy nature, right? Like peacocks dance in the rain and they enjoy the nature. That is true. All animals get happiness from the nature, but that is part of their own program. That is just their sahajata vritti. That is their inborn instincts, that they just connect with the nature. And dancing in the rain is actually a way for the peacocks to attract other peacocks. That is part of the procreation process. But in case of the human beings, it is not like that. We go out and we seek we seek the nature and we try to get that that feeling of infinite, that infinite desire within us is triggered, and that is the seed of being a human being. That is the seed of being a human being. So we all have an infinite desire which is not there in animals or plants. That infinite desire is not there in animals or plants. So okay, so far what we have talked about.
No, we really don't know whether they do or not. Actually, the animals and plants enjoy it or not, we really don't know, right?
Yeah, no, they enjoy in the sense that the peacocks dance in the rain. The peacocks dance in the rain. So to me, it appears, yes, they are enjoying the nature, but is it the way I am enjoying? May not be the way I am enjoying, but they do get some happiness from the environment. If the environment is proper, then they do get happiness. So now in the next slide we are going to see how the animals get happiness. How the animals get happiness. So the thing is, every being on this earth, every being wants happiness. Every being wants happiness. It's not just human beings. Every being wants happiness, right? So when we so no, before proceeding further, so far what we have understood, can somebody explain? Reema Bagini? Okay, Usha Bagni, can you explain?
Namaskar, this is Ushapati.
Ushapati, okay. Usha Mohoday.
Yes. Um, uh, I'm not impersonating her. It just happens to be her name in the Zoom.
Okay. No worries.
Yes.
No worries, Mohoday.
Okay. So far, what we've looked at that if you go see a, a large, huge space or things, it triggers a happiness in us because there's a thirst in every one of us, even though right now, so far, we've attributed it to just humans. The thirst for the infinite. Thirst, there is an infinite, we call it, I think you've been calling it infinite desire. It's really, I look at it as desire for the infiniteness, that unlimited. You want to, humans, as human, you feel limited, but there's a desire to feel unlimited, that the limitation is not there. But either way, we're going off the thing that this lesson so far has been saying, that you have that infinite desire, indirectly saying desire for the infiniteness. When you see this huge space, ocean or mountain or starry sky, it, it makes you happiness. And the yoga says that you don't have to go to these places, look at them to get derive that infinite desire. You can look within, close your eyes, look within to get the same
happiness, not desire.
Pushpa Bagni, just can you hold on, please, Mahoday? Continue. Yeah.
To get that similar experience of infinite desire or the desire for unlimitedness. And then we've gone on to trying to distinguish, the humans having this unique, deriving this unique desire from, for infiniteness from this large nature's wonders, as against the animals. And is that, are we um, an intelligent animal? Are we, is that how we are trying to define humans? Um, and then we've gone on to explaining that difference between animals and the humans is from an yogic analysis over the over years and decades and um, tens of thousands of years. The yogic science has developed that to say that the humans derive not only the desire or the the happiness we get is there's a big difference between animals and the human animals. Is that it's not only quantitative, there's also a qualitative difference in what the human animals derive. And then we're going to go into explaining what this qualitative uh, happiness that we get by looking at these, and in turn see how we can get the same thing without having to look at huge uh, nature's wonders, but just by looking in within ourselves.
Yes, yes. Okay, very nicely explained, Maurya. Thank you. Yes, that is true. So that is how the science of yoga was developed. So in order to understand yoga, we need to know what it is to be a human being, and this area was being thought about by a lot of people for a very long time, and the yogis actually gave a very unique answer saying that there is a qualitative difference between human beings and animals, and what is that difference, what is that qualitative difference is what we are going to see further. And the seed of that is actually from the experience that we get looking at these huge things like the mountains, the seas, and the sky. Okay, so going further, Pushpavagni, you wanted to say something?
He was saying that the infinite desire, but it was actually the happiness that we get through these, looking at these, vast things. That's all.
Okay, okay. So every being in this earth, in this world, wants happiness, right? Every being wants happiness. So when we look at it, but the happiness is different for every being. What is happiness for animals is different. What is happiness for plants is different. What is happiness for human beings is different. So if you look at all these different categories, there is a difference in the intelligence amongst these beings. So compared to plants, animals are more intelligent. Compared to animals, human beings are more intelligent. So even within the animal category, there are varying degrees of intelligence, right? So we can say there is a difference in intelligence amongst all living beings. Every being has a mind. Every being has a mind. How every being has a mind, we will see that later on when we discuss the yogic philosophy. How every being has a mind, but there is a difference in their development. How developed the mind is, there is a difference in that when we look at the different categories. So because there is a difference in the development of the mind, therefore there is a difference in what actually gives happiness to different beings. What gives happiness to different beings, from animals to plants to human beings. So basically, essentially, in this slide is that every being seeks happiness, but happiness is different for every being. So how the happiness is different for each being, we'll see that in the next slide. So what is the nature of happiness for a single-celled organisms? The happiness may take the shape of a stable equilibrium with sufficient water, electrolytes. That is what gives happiness to single-celled organisms. And then when we look at plants, plants get happiness. The plants are happy if they have water, proper environment, and good soil. They are happy. Plants are happy. And then if you look at animals, they are happy if they have adequate food, safe environment, and some animals want to live in the company of other animals. They're living together. And then if you look at the animals, their happiness is just limited to their physical existence. They're not seeking anything more than that. But when compared to plants and compared to single-celled organisms, animals are like more active, and they're more capable of seeking. They seek their happiness in their lives. They're more sakriya. They're having the kriya in them to go and seek for happiness compared to plants and compared to the animals. And when we look at the human beings also seek happiness. But for human beings, there is no end to our desires. We want unlimited happiness. We don't want unlimited happiness. If we get one thing, we want something else. If we have, according to what our liking is, how much ever we have of that, we always want more. If we have wealth, we want more of it. If we, if you want position, then we want more of it. We want infinite. We want that to the infinite degree. So anything that we have, we want more and more of it. So that is what human beings are seeking for, infinite happiness. That is why they never get satisfied from these finite things. They're always looking for more and more and more. So over here we can see that all beings seek happiness, but happiness, the criteria for happiness differs in very important way. Even though the commonality in all living beings is to seek happiness, but the criteria for happiness actually varies in among different beings. Okay, so moving on. So when we look at the human beings and when we compare them with animals in search for their happiness, their just desires are all limited to ahara, nidra, bhayam and maitana. That is what their desires are limited to. So once animals have finite desires. They don't have infinite desires. They have finite desires. Once the animals get food and water, and if they are in a safe environment, then they'll naturally go to sleep. They do not have any other work. Their desires are very, very limited. Their desires are very limited. But in contrast, if we look at the human beings, our desires are not like that. Even after our physical needs, our basic needs, basic desires are met, our survival needs are met, we don't go to sleep. We are always constantly thinking. We are constantly making plans about what do I do next. And our desires will take different forms, different shapes, depending upon the person, right? Depending on each person, our desires will take different shapes, and we keep on making plans endlessly, right? For instance, if a businessman, right, he always thinks about how to expand his business, how to make more money. That is what he's constantly thinking about. If it is an author or a writer, he wants to always write something more beautiful. He wants to get more fame. He wants to write something more beautiful every day. Even if he has written something very beautiful, he wants to improve upon it. He wants to keep on doing something better. Similarly, if you look at a scientist, he's also always striving for new discoveries. He wants to make new discoveries. He wants to get fame, right? He wants to do new research. So that is how a scientist is. And if you look at a politician is always looking for more power, right? If he's a mayor, then he wants to become a governor. If he's a governor, then he wants to become a prime minister or the president of the country. So he always wants more power, more position. They're constantly making plans about how do I achieve my next target. So if you see that, if you look at the human beings, we have no end to our desires. We're always constantly making plans, constantly thinking about, even after our physical needs are met, we are thinking about how we can go on developing on them, how we can look for more, right? So there is no end to human desires. That is why we say human beings have an infinite desire, right? Okay. So far, who's going to explain that? Jagadish Mohoday, you want to explain? Mohoday, are you there? Uma Bagni, you want to explain? Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Uma Bhagini, do you want to explain, or you are traveling or something? Who said traveling? It was Lata Bhagini who said traveling. Okay. Meena Bhagini, do you want to explain? Anybody who has not answered before? Jagdish Mohoday or Uma Bhagini? Astu, then, okay, Pushpa Bhagini, you explain.
I can't remember the previous year's slide, but if you can put it.
Yeah.
Okay. There is difference in intelligence.
Who said something?
Among,
1 second, Bhagini. Somebody said something.
Who says?
Okay. Okay, Bhagini, go ahead.
She's not put on the audio, so she can't hear anything.
Oh, audio is not coming.
No, because she's not turned on the audio. There is a difference in intelligence among all living beings, like the plants and the animals and human beings. Okay, everyone has a mind, but there's a difference in the development. So therefore, there is a difference in what gives the happiness to an animal may not be giving any happiness to the plant. What gives happiness to a human being does not give happiness to the animal. And what else? Happiness is different. Okay, happiness is different for everyone. And you listen to organisms like amoeba or something like that, they are only looking for their food. Okay, so if they get the food, they're happy. And of course, stability, that's what they're looking for. And the plants are looking for water, air, and soil, good soil and environment, proper environment to be happy. And you can see in their growth as happiness, basically. The plants grow nicely when they have all this available. And animals, of course, they want adequate food and living together, collective living and safe environment. Like, for example, a lion's group would be doing a group hunting or something like that. So that's a collective living. So other than that, no, that's how they get, they catch an animal and they eat and they're satisfied. That's their happiness, okay? In humans, there is no end to human desire, depending upon, of course, depending upon the human being. If somebody is desireless, they don't need anything to be happy. They can be happy with just having the water and air and maybe not even very much, because saints used to live in mountains and just meditate and they would get the water, of course, from the ice, melting ice, and that used to be their food basically, and that's why they're they used to live for years, not just I mean I'm sure there are people who are still living for over 100 years up in the mountains that have lived for much more than what we live in this world and live very healthily. Okay, that's all I can say.
Okay. Nice to say, Bhagini. Thank you. So yeah, that is what we said, that all beings seek happiness, but the criteria for happiness differs between different beings. Animals and plants, they are just happy when their just physical needs are met. Like animals, physical needs are met, they are happy. Human beings, when we compare, their happiness, they're not just happy with just physical needs. They want something more. They're always looking for more. and we said that human beings have an infinite desire. They're seeking for infinite happiness. Okay, so we said that, and then so now in order to understand what a human being is, we said there is a qualitative difference between human beings and animals. So now let us see what that qualitative difference is. So we already said that the degree of development of the mind, all beings have mind, and the degree of development of the mind is different between different beings. So the criteria of happiness is physical for other beings, and that is not enough to make humans happy. We said that. And one of the fundamental difference between animals and humans is that the animals exist only to protect their physical existence. Their measure of happiness is from finite things, but that is not enough for human beings. So no matter how much ever something is giving them happiness, they want more of it. There is no limit to their desires. Because of this difference, human beings are not animals. Humans have an infinite desire, and that is the qualitative difference. That is how human beings are qualitatively different from animals. So there is not only a quantitative difference between, in terms of intelligence, between human beings and animals, but also there is a qualitative difference in that human beings have no end to their desires. So we said that. Okay, and now the question is, how do we say, what is that qualitative difference? So it's just elaborating on that. Human beings have an infinite desire, and that is the reason that they become speechless at the sight of the sky or the mountains or the seas, and not animals. It is this kind of experience that makes human beings special. This is what distinguishes human beings from other beings, and this is the seed for understanding what yoga is. This unique experience that we get looking at the mountains or sky, that is the seed for understanding what yoga is. So moving on. So when we compare the animals and plants, what is the difference between animals and plants? Can we just say that animals are just moving plants? Can we say like that? So both of them are living creatures, animals and plants. Both of them are living beings. So is the animal just a moving plant? Like for instance, within the animal kingdom, when we look, the monkeys are more developed than a mouse. Monkey has more intelligence and more thinking facilities compared to the mouse. So even within the animal kingdom, there are degrees of intelligence. So in each kingdom, there are some which are more developed than the others, and it is the same in the animal kingdom as well. Monkey is more developed than a mouse. So there are quantitative degrees of development within each of them within a particular kingdom. So when we look at the animals and plants, even between the animals and plants, there is a qualitative difference. So due to which we cannot say that animal is a more intelligent form of a plant. If we just say that animal is a more intelligent form of a plant, then the question is, why can't you just put the animals within the plant kingdom? Why do we need a separate kingdom? So just like the mouse and the monkey are different, they are different, they have their intelligence levels are different, but they are both within the animal kingdom. But when you look at the plants and animals, there is a qualitative difference. And what that qualitative difference is, that plants are called padapaha. Plants are called padapaha. That which drinks from its feet. Padat pipati iti padapaha. Padat pipati pada, it drinks from the feet. So that is a unique characteristic of the plant. No animal can do that. We don't call the animals padapaha, right? So that is a qualitative difference between plants and animals. So between plants and animals, it is not just a quantitative difference, but also there is a qualitative difference. In the same way, when we look at the difference between animals and plants, there is not only a quantitative difference, but also there is a qualitative difference. Because there is a qualitative difference between each of them, and that is why we are putting them in different categories. Plants are in a different category, animals are in a different category, and human beings are in a different category. The the word for this qualitative difference, which distinguishes one class of things from another, is called as dharma. When we say qualitative difference between plants and animals, between animals and human beings, what is the word for that qualitative difference? It is called as dharma. Qualitative difference is called dharma. So the word dharma that is used in yoga is very similar to the word that dharma that is used in Nyaya Shastra as a lakshanam. In Nyaya Shastra we have something called as lakshanam. Every padartha will have lakshanam, and that lakshanam means asadharana dharma, which is a unique characteristic, that is there only in that particular object, but it is not there in other objects. So if I say prithvi, when I say prithvi, what is the lakshanam of prithvi? We say gandhavati prithvi. Something that has gandha is called as prithvi. So that is the lakshanam of prithvi. So in the sense how that lakshanam is used in Nyaya Shastra, in the same way in yoga the word dharma is used in the sense of lakshana. It is the unique characteristic that is present in one category but is not present in the other category. That is what is called as dharma. And because of this dharma, this qualitative difference, we can put certain objects in one group, and we can put them in one particular kingdom. And that is the reason we don't put animals in the plant kingdom, because they are qualitatively different. Their dharma is different. Plants dharma is different, animals dharma is different, human beings dharma is different. Okay, so okay, let's see the slide. So the qualitative difference is called as dharma. It is an asadharana guna. It is a very, very unique characteristic, or a very unique guna, which distinguishes one category from the another category. And because of this dharma, we are able to put a group of objects in a particular category. That is how we can categorize different objects, different groups of objects. Okay, so far who can explain? Jagdish Mohdaya, are you there? I can't hear you.
See, the qualitative differences, the human beings have got extra sensory perception, which the animals and plants do not have. God has given them the extra ones, but many of us do not use it. That's the pity. But the most important thing which is derived from yoga is the peace. What is, you compared it with seeing the mountains and oceans, etc. The calmness, the equipoised mind which you get when you see them, that is the bottom line, if you ask me. The peace. And all of us are peace-loving people. So naturally, there is a tendency to increase the peace quantum. In each one of us is made up of trigunas, Sattvam, Rajas and Tamas. So ideally, all of us would like to increase the sattvic quantity in the trigunas, so that we can contribute better and understand people better and things like that. So essentially, yoga is in Sanskrit is known as, it is union. It is joining hands with the propitiator, with the God, and we can extend that to the society, because say Manasa Seva is also the Deva Seva. When we serve the society, the Lord is also pleased. So essentially, yoga is combining or uniting with the God, and ultimate purpose of every human being is to get liberated, moksha from this worldly samsara. So this is yoga is one of the ways by which you can get closer to that self-realization.
Yes.
All right?
Yes. Nicely said. Yes, we will see what the definition of yoga is in the next coming slides. The union that you talked about, we will talk about that. But right now, what we are trying to do over here is that we are trying to understand what it is to be a human being, what is the definition of a human being, what is the lakshana for a human being. So we said that there is a qualitative difference between each category, between the animal kingdom, the plant kingdom, and the human kingdom, and that qualitative difference is called as dharma. And the dharma is used in the sense of lakshana that is used in the Nyaya Shastra, which is the unique characteristic which is only present in all the members of, for instance, if we say human dharma, it is a characteristic, unique characteristics which is only present in all the human beings but not in animals or plants. When we say animal dharma, it is something that is present in all animals but not present in other members. So for the plants, we said they're called as padapa, that is a unique characteristic of only plants but not of animals. So each of them, each of the category has its own dharma, and it is called as the asadharana gunaha. Dharma is called as the asadharana gunaha. So for instance, if we take an example, we said dharma is an asadharana gunaha which is only there in one particular category but not in other category. So if you take an example, for instance, fire, the extraordinary property of fire is to burn, right? Anything that has this characteristic, we call it as fire. So if we take water, the unique characteristic of water is to make things wet. If something does not make other things wet, then we will not call it as water. So here in yoga, dharma is used in the sense how it is used in Nyaya Shastra as a lakshanam. That is, it is a unique characteristic which is present in all the members of that particular group, not in the other, not present in the other groups. So if we look at this, all living beings have their own dharma. All living beings have their own dharma. And what is it, that dharma? If we look at, so all living beings have this jaivi dharma. All living beings have this jaivi dharma, the dharma of being alive. That dharma is there in all living beings. And also all living beings have their own swadharma, have their own dharma. That is the unique characteristic of that particular category, right? Jaivi dharma is the dharma of all living beings. That dharma exists in all living beings, plants, animals, and humans. And the swadharma is that each of them have their own dharma. So human beings also have their own swadharma. Human beings also have their own swadharma. So till here, Ushapati ji, can you summarize it?
Okay, I think we talked about, I mean, in the last few slides, dharma is categorized or is defined as that unique characteristic of each of the different beings. Plant is padapada, they drink or eat with their feet that no one else can do, so that is their dharma. As against the animals, or their dharma is just once their physical needs are met, they are happy, and that is their dharma, though they cannot drink with their feet. Then the dharma of human beings seem to be that desire for unlimitedness, or the infinite desire. They're not satisfied with just physical desire being satisfied. They want more and more and more. So we're defining dharma as that qualitative difference, and it is that qualitative difference that makes, between the happiness that the animals get and the happiness that humans get, is that qualitative difference where humans have, they're not satisfied, or they get some happiness, they want more of it. They get some happiness, they get more of it and more of it. And then we're just trying to define dharma in terms of as that qualitative difference, further into saying, there is jaivi dharma and swadharma. Jaivi dharma is one where all living beings, they exist, they all have the same, dharma. Everyone and he has this hunger that needs to be satisfied, or the physical safety, physical needs need to be met, be it plants or animals or humans. You could say that that's the Jaivi Dharma, that Dharma of all living things. Everyone wants to be safe. Everyone wants to be fed. Uh, and then if you look at Swadharma, each of them have something unique, something special to them. And plants have their Swadharma that animals and humans don't have. Animals have their own Swadharma that plants or humans don't have. And humans have their Swadharma that's not this thing of others. And so we in yoga, then we are defining dharma as that characteristic and defining that as the qualitative difference that makes humans with that special extra characteristics, which is of infinite desire, and tries to explain that is what makes humans, different, and the humans enjoy these derive pleasures from this vastness, these things that are nature's wonders, that I call them.
Yes, Maurya, so nicely said. Very nicely said, Maurya. Thank you. That is nice. Very nice. Yes. So, yes, human beings have a unique dharma, the Swadharma, even though all of them have Jaivi Dharma, but each category has its own Swadharma. So we will actually stop at this point in time, and we'll continue from here. Going forward, we'll talk about specifically we already talked about, but we'll talk about in detail about animal dharma, what is the human dharma, and also are we aware of our human dharma. So we'll talk about all these things in the coming sessions. So we are trying to progress kind of systematically. I know we all know different things, but we're trying to progress here systematically from a yoga perspective. So yeah. So do you guys have any questions at this point? Okay. If not, okay, that is great. So we will meet next week. Thank you all. Thank you all for joining.
Bhagini, I wanted to ask you something that is not related to this.
Yeah, okay, but I will just put the recording on hold just 1 second. Can you all hang on 1 second?